Hey everyone, welcome to The Alternates, a basketball show for the others where we like to showcase independent music and discuss all things basketball. We've got a really fun show lined up for you today. Back from hiatus, I'm out of the desert and I'm back in the studio here with the People's Champ with us this week again. We're going to be checking out headliners, playing out of step with a little bit of a twist this week. And then of course, it's Tuesday, which means we are picking our duo jams for the week. We got all that and more coming up right after this, which is Vulture by Oroku off their 2006 Living Through the End Time LP on Inimical? That word trips me up. Inimical Records. We'll be right back. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are The Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and I am joined by the return of the Sultan of SWAT, the Colossus of Clout, the Queen of Crash, the great Natasha Dye.
Thank you for having me back. I really love doing this show, and those intros are just unbeatable.
It's the only reason you're coming back.
Yeah, and because my mom loves this show when I'm on it.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad that she forced me to do this again.
Yes, I know. She paid you.
I'm curious, since you love those intros so much, are you making people refer to you as these names now? You just hand them a card and go, please, this is...
No, but now I'm gonna.
Natasha was the old me, please. Yeah. Now I'm the Colossus of Clout.
Yeah, I just need to pick one because you've come up with so many good ones.
I didn't come up with this one. Do you not get that reference?
No.
It's from The Sandlot. It's what they call the Great Bambino.
Dang. You know what? I haven't seen The Sandlot since I was a kid. And then
Me neither, but my neurodivergent brain just holds on to the most random things.
Mine didn't get that one.
I spent the last week hiking through Arizona and I saw a boulder that looked like a gorilla, and I spent the next mile on the trail just quoting Congo to myself.
Nice.
That is who I am.
I wish I could have seen. I wish there was footage of that. You just quoting things to yourself.
Me just walking around talking about the diamonds of Zinj. Yeah, that's exactly.
And how was the Grand Canyon?
It was there. It's a hoax.
It's a hoax.
I did get to see a little bit of it, but for 5 minutes, and then a snowstorm rolled in, and you could not see the canyon at all.
Brian posted a picture of just fog. He was like, "I'm at the Grand Canyon."
Yeah, it was not grand to say the least, but I went upstream a little bit down the mountain and got to see some really cool canyons that weren't the Grand Canyon. Yeah.
Just the cool canyons.
Yeah, their just marketing team isn't as good. And so, it was really cool though.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me back.
Of course. We're so happy to have you. Before we jump into our first segment, I want to just ask you all very quickly to subscribe to the show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Go ahead and like that video with a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Hit us with a rating and review if you're catching the podcast. I know it seems silly. I ask you every week, but it really does help other people like you find the show. That's how the algorithms work. And then if we get more people in, we can build this community, and you might meet more people that are alt and love these things. So you're really helping yourself here when you do that. That is the worst pitch ever, but please do it. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by emailing thealternateshoop@gmail.com, and then go ahead and follow us on TikTok at thealternatesNBA. Natasha, how are you?
I am good. I was going to ask if people could, if they've been to the Grand Canyon, please comment that you have, so we know it's real, because I'm not sure, and I don't know if Brian.
I have filed a lawsuit against Graham Cameron, who is the creator of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It's an absolute rift. He's a grifter. I don't appreciate any of it, if I'm being super honest here.
Well, this show has a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon's on the list now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm good. We
have a list of enemies as long as the Grand Canyon supposedly is.
Supposedly, no one's seen it.
Yeah.
If you've seen it, though, please let me know. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a little hungover because I went to the game last night.
Mm-hmm. And when you say the game, you mean the Clippers game last night?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You watched them exercise their Pelicans demons.
Yeah, the Pelicans were there too, but only kind of.
Which, speaking of Pelicans demons, have you ever seen the original Pierre the Pelican mascot?
No.
Oh, it is truly a demon. It is what nightmares are made of.
What years were we, like, when was this?
Oh, I want to say it was shortly after they branded themselves as the Pelicans.
Which is also just...
Is that like 2013, 2012?
In 2012, I was paying too much attention to other things. One Direction.
I'll send you a photo.
Okay.
In fact, you know what? For everybody listening, I'm going to put one up right here next to me. That is truly terrifying. The only thing that might be more scary than that is... So they also are sponsored by like King Cakes because it's very New Orleans.
Okay.
And it's just a massive baby in a diaper. Also the thing that nightmares are made of.
You're just naming off really good Halloween costumes now.
Yeah, truly. Except like when you're like a 5-year-old child who's like, I want to go see the NBA. And it's like, well, welcome to the House of Horrors.
That sounds cool. How do you feel about Chuck the Condor? The Clippers mascot.
Chuck's cool. I don't think he's like... I
love him.
Yeah, I don't think he's terrifying.
Okay, yeah, no, but I mean, he's like setting the bar really high for mascots.
Yeah, I mean, the bar is set by Benny the Bull. I think that's the greatest mascot in the NBA.
And the Toronto Raptor that scared Devin Booker.
The Raptor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He was named to the Alt-Stars this year.
As he should.
Yeah.
Honestly, he should be Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he might be in that category. At least among mascots for sure.
That's a good Halloween
Which is,
costume.
interesting because on the same Alt-Star team was Robin Lopez, who was the known enemy of all mascots. So,
also, Robin Lopez, I heard he loves going to Disneyland or Disney World.
Oh, he's like, why do you think he signed to Orlando?
I know. That's amazing.
Yeah.
He sounds fun.
Oh, the Lopez twins are my favorite like duo players in the NBA.
Need to pay more attention to them.
There's so they've written comic books together. They go to Disneyland all the time. You should look up Robin Lopez's like Halloween costumes. Mm-hmm. He goes all out for them.
Oh my gosh, perfect.
When Brooke was in Brooklyn and Robin signed with the Knicks, somebody asked them like, "Oh, are you guys going to live together? Now that you're
in New York.
Both in New York," and they said that they couldn't because their cats don't get along, which is my favorite answer ever.
I love them. Okay.
NBA twins, I like the Morris twins.
The Morris twins.
When they were in Phoenix, I'm getting way off topic here, but when they were in Phoenix together on the same team, they lived in the same house. They lived together, and I guess the house only had like one like main bedroom, like one really big bedroom. Even though it was like a fucking mansion, they would in the off season have these like very intense video game tournaments all summer.
Cool.
And whoever ended up victorious at the end of the entire tournament got the big bedroom for the season.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I wish I had a twin just for that reason.
Yeah, just so we could get into the NBA and have tournaments.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, tournaments.
All right, well, with that said, are you ready to jump into this first segment?
I'm ready.
Let's get into headliners. So we're winding down the end of the season here, but there's still some interesting things happening. Let's start with the 2022 Hall of Fame finalists have been announced. So it's kind of headlined by two NBA players, Manu Ginobili and Tim Hardaway. And then you've got the rest of the finalists are Swin Cash, WNBA and NCAA champion, NBA coach George Karl, who is 6th all-time in wins, Bob Huggins, which is just maybe the greatest name ever. Bob Huggins needs to be the name of a mascot somewhere in the NBA.
They should make little teddy bears Bob Huggins.
Replace the baby in New Orleans with Bob Huggins.
Yes. Bob Huggins sounds like a show, like Bob the Builder, but he's like, you hug him.
Yeah, welcome to Bob Huggins, NBA.
He's a big bear.
We could do a children's NBA show, and it's
God.
hosted by Bob Huggins.
Yes, and he's like Big Bear in the Big Blue House is kind of how he looks, you know?
Okay.
He's a bear.
Yeah, for sure a bear. I pictured a bear too.
Okay,
like
good.
kind of like Charmin, the Charmin bear, but like slightly less like sociopathic looking.
Networks, call us.
Let's do it. Let's get it done. He was a college coach. And then we've got Lindsay Whalen, WNBA champ and 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Marion Stanley, NCAA championship winning head coach and former winner of Coach of the Year in the WNBA. And then Hugh Evans, former official.
Finally, he made it.
Putting officials, like, what is the qualification for being an NBA ref in the Hall of Fame? Is it like whistles per minute? Fouls per game?
What are the stats?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just learned today that you could put an official in the Hall of Fame. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know it's not an easy job, but I'm not ready to put the police of the NBA in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And because they're not held accountable on the other side. It's like, okay, if you're going to put them in the Hall of Fame, they should be doing post-game interviews.
I think they don't do that on purpose to kind of protect these guys. Like, I know the NBA is, a little more mellow. It's one of the smaller leagues, but like there are soccer leagues where, soccer officials have been like beheaded.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want that, but maybe anonymity.
Okay. I love the idea of anonymity with the refs.
Yeah.
And they call the game with like leather gimp masks on that are unzipped on the mouth just enough to fit the whistle.
Oh my God.
But it's like, but the whistle is like, maybe it's buried into like a ball gag.
They can have a dead mouse head and so that you can't see their face. And then the whistle is like, it's part of it.
Not kinky enough, if I'm being honest.
What if they were naked and they had the dead mouse head?
Yeah, then I think we're talking about assault.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That part. Yeah. No, but I refs. First of all, like I know we have to have them, but they're so annoying. Like nobody's like, yes, that ref. You only have refs you hate.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like how many refs can you even name? Scott Foster, Tony Brothers, because they're
Zach Zarba.
Natalie Sago.
I mean, there's legends like Hugh Evans.
Yeah, okay. Are they going to show a highlights reel?
Yeah.
It's literally just him blowing a whistle.
I mean, I've said this before. Look, the refs can drive me crazy, but I also think that at a basketball game, they are performing one of the most incredible physical feats I've ever seen, which is running up and down a court with a whistle in your mouth without accidentally blowing it.
I've never thought of that. That's
incredible.
So true. Wait, but is it in their mouth? I thought it's like a necklace.
No, they keep it in their mouth the whole time so that they can blow something as soon as they see it. Dude, if it was me, it would be...
Yeah, do you think that's like something they practice? They have to be like while they run?
I just think they're breathing out of their nose.
Do refs have drills for running up and down the court?
For sure they do.
Do they have ref practice?
For sure. Yeah.
I need to see a ref. Are they all wearing the outfits in the ref practice? Imagine you were like, it's an NBA practice.
It's shirts and skins.
Shirts and skins.
Yeah.
And then all of them are just doing like, because they have to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You know what? Hugh Evans needs to tell us about his career. And like, I want to know more now.
Yeah. Well, you can pick up his autobiography. I'm kidding. I don't think that's a thing.
I was like, how do you know that? Did you just Google that?
It's called Blow the Whistle, and the forward is done by Too Short. Yeah. So what I want to get to on this one is the first two names that I put out there, Manu Ginobili and Tim Hardaway. Mm-hmm. Ginobili, I think it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Like he was part of the Spurs dynasty. There's so many looks of Ginobili throughout his career, highlights, right? Like even at the end of his career, he had that famous block of Harden
he's
in the
incredible.
playoffs. Up for debate, but definitely I would say one of the greatest six-man to ever play.
Yeah.
The amount that he came off the bench. And, the Spurs were really kind of one of the first teams to really tap into the international market. Mm-hmm. And we're not even talking about his accomplishments with the Argentina national team, which has always been very good in the Olympics. They've always had a very solid team.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, Argentina that's a powerhouse for sure.
Nice. Nice.
But, I'm not saying he's the first guy that came over from an international market, because obviously we know that's not true, but I think that he's kind of become maybe the
defining.
Yes,
one.
Exactly. I think he's one of the guys that you think about, or the rest of the league saw the Spurs doing it and we're like, oh shit. Like,
totally. And I don't think anyone's surprised that he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure. The next name though is a little controversial. So Tim Hardaway, he said years ago, okay.
I just learned about this from Brian.
Let's go back a little further. So after he retired, he made a statement in which he said that he hates gay people and said flat out, I am homophobic.
Yeah.
I don't like them. In an interview with Dan Le Batard, which obviously upset a lot of people and it caused a lot of controversy.
And it happened because of a former teammate, right? Or was that part of it?
It was a player. A former player had come out as gay.
Yeah, he had retired.
And so he then kind of said, look, after all the controversy, he did another interview and he said, I understand that I upset a lot of people, but I don't agree with their lifestyle. And kind of left it at that.
He literally said that they shouldn't be in the United States.
Yes. But to his credit, he ended up doing a lot of work. He went to counseling, and he has turned his views around on it. And look, I am not one to give a lot of runway for the I was raised in a different time kind of thing, because no, there's always been people on the right side of these kind of these arguments. But to his credit, he went to counseling. He's done a lot of work to turn that around. He says that he no longer, views that same opinion. He has done work with LGBTQ organizations. He has done work, he's a former Heat player. He went to Florida and helped movements to get petitions forward to legalize same-sex marriage. He has said that he is an ally of transgender people. He has completely turned it around. He did say though a few years ago, when he was asked about being in the Hall of Fame, that he said that he 100% should be, but his statements in the early 2000s is what's keeping him out. And that, he said basically there's nothing I can do about it. I've done my work, but I understand that I hurt a lot of people and that's what's keeping me out. Now, do you think with the work he's put in that he deserves it? Do you think that that's probably why he was kept out? What's your kind of feeling on this?
I mean, it's a real roller coaster of emotions, because I started this news being like, I like Tim Hardaway from the highlights I've seen. What a cool guy. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. And then, I was really appalled at the comments. They were not just, I hate gay people. They are truly hateful. So that it's hard for me to give any kind of to like anyone who ever even had that thought and that kind of hate inside of them. But you're right. He put in the work. That's all he can do really at that point. I mean, we don't have to get into cancel culture, but at that point, he what's done is done. He obviously had an incredible NBA career, and that's what the Hall of Fame is. It's not necessarily about being the smartest or not, but it's hard to like him. I'll let him in. I'm not mad he's in, because at least he addressed it. And about the comment about in the 2000s, that's what's keeping me out. He was not wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, for sure.
So, I mean, were people upset by that? Because should he just not have said it? Should he just? Yeah,
I mean, I guess there's both sides of that argument. People are like, no, he should still be in. And then there's the side that's like, well, fuck you, dude.
I think after a while, especially if this was after he was doing actually working, because those are things, getting involved, those are things that are not just saying, oh, I'm learning, I'm the whole I'm doing the work. It sounds like
putting words in action.
Yes, it sounds like he actually did. And so I mean, that's great.
Okay, all right. Is the requirements to get into the Hall of Fame in basketball too lax?
Read the list again. Hugh Evans got in.
Legend.
Yes, true. It's way too lax. A Hall of Fame, first of all, I should be able to walk down a hall and see the whole thing. It should be a hall, and you should just it should be like a museum, and there's only enough for a 15-minute visit, you just walk and you can do it all.
I love the idea of a finite number of spots in the hall, so that when somebody is inducted in, let's say it's 100, somebody else gets dropped out of the Hall of Fame.
Ooh. Okay, but what about in 50 years? just like LeBron James is out because he's so far back.
Well, that's if you think that somebody in 50 years is going in that is better than LeBron James.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, what if well, that's so hard because...
This one's easy for me because I don't respect old basketball. Like, I don't respect anything before like 1970.
I'm just thinking for the future, maybe we move them into like a pool of a old Hall of Fame. The pool of... Yeah, they're in the pool.
The pool of shame.
Yes. They're just the old ones that get kicked out. So they're still recognized a little bit, but they're like past the gift shop when you leave the Hall of Fame, you know?
Oh, interesting.
It's like an archives of Hall of Fame, but they're not in the current one.
Okay, so we're still just letting more people into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but we're kind of booting them. We're like, you're old, so go over there, you know?
But they still have the distinction of a Hall of Famer.
No, it's different.
Because in my thought,
current.
you're known as a former Hall of Famer.
Yes. It's current. So if you're in the actual Hall of Fame, then you're a current Hall of Famer. But if you're former, you got kicked out. You got booted.
You're not actually in the Hall of Fame anymore. All right.
You were at one point.
Let's make it happen.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, I think that's way better. Because also, you should be able to name people in the Hall of Fame. Like, it should be, I don't know, it should be more concise. You're just throwing people in now.
Yeah, it's like the MLB is like very difficult to get in.
It should be. It's the Hall of Fame.
You're not
Hugh
wrong.
Evans is not famous. You
don't know Hugh. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
The NBA announced the creation of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Champion Award. Now, the award itself is like this kind of trophy-looking thing that is Kareem's hands holding up a like crystal basketball globe.
It's gold, fancy.
Yeah, gold, crystal, all of that. And essentially, every year what's going to happen is the league will pick 5 finalists up for the award. The winner will get to choose an organization where a $100,000 donation is put towards that organization in that player's name. And then the other 4 finalists will get to choose an organization that gets $25,000.
And these are just players, right?
Players, yes.
Okay, so a coach can't be nominated, or?
I don't think so. I believe it is just current players, like active players.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I guess what's your kind of thought on this? Like, how are you viewing this? Because I mean, Kareem's in the news right now. He's causing a lot of controversy outside of this.
I love Kareem. He is messy, and I love it. He loves to say stuff, especially about LeBron. But that's who he is.
People are saying he's jealous that LeBron is going to pass him on the all-time scoring list and all that. But like, I would say yes if Kareem has been quiet for 40 years and then came out and said it, but Kareem has always been a very outspoken person. Yeah,
Kareem, like, he did an episode of Dave. Like, he's down. he hangs. And I think also, like, it would be weird if he didn't say anything. Because also, like, he's not wrong most of the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I like the idea of the award. $100K.
So that's my thing, right? Is like, I struggle with this because I'm like, this is, it's bringing awareness. That's good. But like,
and wait, the other 4 get $25K. So that's $200,000
$200,000 total for this thing. And look, in the last episode that I did with Stephen Lewis, who works with Edify, again, go check out Edify. It's an amazing organization. We had this discussion about the kind of performative nature of professional sports leagues. And, we even talked about like the bubble where it said, Black Lives Matter on the court. That went away as soon as like the next season started and it wasn't trending anymore. It's this kind of performative thing. And I'm looking at it going, okay, great. But like, this is also, I think an award is a bit weird because then it's putting the player ahead of the actual cause.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think a player would rather the cause be in front if it's something that they truly care about. And then, 200,000, like the NBA pulls in $10 billion every year in revenue, right? Like, and to put $1 billion in perspective, which is one of my favorite things to do because it's such an insane number. There's 10,000 100,000s in $1 billion. In one. They make 10 times that.
Yeah.
This is the drop in the bucket. Like $100,000, dude. Julius Randle has paid more in fines this season than that.
How much is the fine for a tech? It's like 25,000 or something, 10,000.
It depends on what it is, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and also it's no secret that they can afford more too. It's like they're not even really trying. But on the other hand, it's like it's a nice idea, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, great name for it.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing it. I agree that it should be more.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing it. And I agree with you. I don't think that it should be player based. I think actually the best idea for the NBA. If they actually wanted to implement kind of like a social justice, fund or a champion award, they should give one to each team. Each team every year
gets a fund.
And maybe it is based on like however many points score or average points scored. You add in some kind of element to make it about the game or the stats. But yeah, it shouldn't be a competition, and they can afford way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
Easily. Like,
yeah.
I'm all for, like, what if a player, like, your team pool comes out of the fines paid total, and then there's something where, like, fans get to choose the organization it goes to, because then it's a local organization. It's helping the city that the team plays in.
You make a whole day of it. You bring the team out and you bring fans, and then they, present the check. There's so much they could do with it. And if the NBA was really serious, like, they've put together so many programs and different things, and it's evolved and grown so much that
that's the thing, right? Is they did the social justice committee in the bubble, and fucking Robert Sarver was on it, the guy who's being investigated for making
king of justice.
Using racial slurs. Like, there's more that they can do. I get it. It's a step in the right direction. I wish it was a bigger step, but
it's good they're doing something,
sure.
But it's also kind of like, you did that in one day.
yeah. It was very minimal.
Yes,
for
very
sure.
minimal.
Okay, moving on. This last one here. The Nets and Ben Simmons are in the headlines, if you can believe it.
What? Who?
So Ben Simmons has filed a grievance against the 76ers to recoup nearly $20 million in withheld salary.
Good for him.
So basically, after the playoffs last year, he said, I want to be traded. I have no intentions of playing for this basketball club ever again. And then he didn't play again. And he was away from the team. He refused to see their staff. He was seeing his own medical staff, all of that. And then he was being garnished, basically, for every check this season from the Sixers that he wasn't playing. And then he rejoined the team, and they stopped garnishing his wages when he basically told them, I'm not mentally fit to play yet. I'm not mentally prepared. And the trade happens. He gets traded to Brooklyn. And now what's happening is basically his checks are still being garnished by Brooklyn, and that money is being wired back to Philly. I love this because they stopped for a moment when he said he wasn't mentally fit. Or, when he wasn't mentally well.
Yeah.
Which, like, again, kind of back to what we were just talking about. The NBA is, like, very, like, mental health is very important. And he's kind of calling that bullshit, saying like, prove it then, and he hasn't played because of a herniated disc. It's not like he got traded and started playing immediately. It's not like he said his hamstring was bothering him, got traded and started playing immediately, which was the other half of that trade. He still had value to the Sixers because it got them James Harden, which is who Daryl Morey wanted the entire time anyways.
Yes, and one of the Sixers, I forget who it was, said, when we were talking in the locker room about who we could get for Ben, we did not think we were going to get James Harden. So they clearly, he's valued. You know, they didn't lose anything.
Yeah, I'm all for this. Look, whatever your feelings are, and like, I'm not like a huge Ben Simmons fan. I'm not, I don't think he's like the greatest. He's okay. Like, he's good. He's great defensively, but I'm all for him going to get his money.
Oh, me too. He's fine. Like, I'll watch him, but I'm not, I don't have a jersey, or
donate that fucking $20 million to an organization.
That's the thing, is like, where is all this going? And even with all the fines, like, where does that go? There should be more transparency about that.
They do say that it goes towards charity, but like,
where are the receipts?
Yeah, show me exactly where it's going.
Yeah, and then have the people that you gave it to also, say thank you, or announce that you did it. I'm all for it too. I'm not a huge Ben Simmons fan. I like him, but hell yeah, get your money, Ben.
Go get that money. I'm all for it.
And
definitely.
Even look at what Doc Rivers said in the post game last week. He blamed it on James. He was like, James isn't playing very well or whatever. It's not different. And honestly, Ben deserves more. He was bullied by that city.
Yeah. Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean that you don't have feelings.
Do you know how hard it is to play in the NBA? I mean,
I do. I personally do. Yes.
Sometimes I have a hard time keeping up with the schedule watching the NBA. I'm like, man, I can't go out tonight. Can you imagine? I mean, they do so much. There's so much time put into it. You cannot play in the NBA if you're not mentally fit.
Absolutely, yeah. So go get your money, Ben. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's get into Add a Step.
Let's step into it. I have to say it, Brett.
Okay.
I have to say it.
Well, I would like if you got out of step out of the studio real quick. So this is our relegation segment, but we're doing it a little bit differently. The season's over. We'll do a final season wrap up of relegation, but I want us to shift our focus to the playoffs. So instead of breaking down the entire league into NBA, T League, and C League, we're going to do 3 categories just for the playoff teams.
Okay.
And unlike Start Today, we are including the play-in tournament here.
Okay.
So it's kind of a mix of out of step and Start Today in terms of obviously there's still a few games left. A couple of these teams will move up in their seedings, the play-in. So how it sits right now is 8 teams have already clinched a playoff berth in the league. 3 teams have already clinched a spot in the play-in. So there's still 1 up for grabs in the West.
Oh, okay.
And 9 teams have officially been ruled out.
Okay.
So it might change a little bit, but as they currently stand, we're going to go through and I'm going to give you a team and they're going to drop into either the slayoffs, which means they are just a powerhouse ready to murder.
Slay.
The playoffs, which is good competitive, could go either way. Mm-hmm. And then there's the layoffs, which are just the lambs being led to slaughter. So we're going to start in the East.
Okay.
We're going to rapid fire these. I'm going to throw them your way. You tell me which category they're going into.
Okay. Let's go.
The Miami Heat.
Slay.
They're slaying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I get
They're
it.
number
Look,
one.
they're the number 1 in the East. I totally get it. I, for whatever reason, have not been able to buy all the way into the Heat this year, but you can't really argue with being number 1 in your conference.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you could argue that they're having some locker room issues. They hate each other. They physically try to fight each other. So that might be a hiccup along the way. But yeah, no, slay. They're number 1.
Okay. All right. Then we got the Celtics.
Slay all day.
Yes.
Oh, how could they not? They're doing nothing but slaying.
Yeah, they are 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
They're unreal right now.
I think you mentioned Tatum's in the MVP conversation
Yes,
now.
they've been so good and Marcus Smart is now in the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
There's odds on these guys, which is crazy because 8 weeks ago we would not be looking at this team as playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, they've completely turned it around.
Definitely. And they're only 2 games out of that 1 seed right now.
How many games do they have left, I wonder?
4.
Okay.
So
it could happen.
It could. A lot would have to happen in order for that, but still impressive that they've gotten all the way to the 2 seed.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then we've got the Bucks.
Slay. Yeah.
Okay.
Giannis.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Giannis loves to slay.
Yeah.
And they've been good.
All right.
I'm confident in them.
76ers.
Play. Yeah.
Really?
They fall apart.
They have the same record as the Bucks.
They fall apart.
Okay.
Record doesn't, you have to take the context with it because yes, they have the same record as the Bucks, but the Sixers just choke way too often. Look at the games that they've lost. Look how they've lost to them, It's with the Bucks, yeah, they'll lose, but when the Sixers lose, it's because they absolutely collapsed or because they didn't know what they were doing in the first place. They just, they're not, for the playoffs, nah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm not going to question it. The Bulls.
Play.
They're playing.
Solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Lonzo change that if he's available? Or do they still...
They wouldn't make Slay for me right away just because they're unconvincing.
Okay.
They're great. I'm nothing against them, but they have to do it.
Okay. They're not slayers yet.
They have to play.
You got to play before you slay.
You got to play.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say the song. Will I get copyrighted?
Toronto Raptors.
Play.
Playing, yeah.
Solid. They have experience.
Look, they've been great. 7-3 in their last 10. They've been on a heater.
Yeah, but also not a slay.
That's fair.
They don't have that guy, they don't really have anybody who can. They don't have a slayer.
Scotty Barnes might be playing his way into Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I love him, but in the playoffs, I just don't know.
That's fair.
I don't think he can slay in the playoffs. He can play in it.
Nick
though.
Nurse is a playoff slayer.
Yes, he is, but you got to have a player that can slay.
Okay.
That's your slayer.
Yeah, definitely. Cavs. Layoffs. We have our first layoff team.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could easily be proven wrong with that. And they're kind of just sitting at the very top of layoffs and they're inching towards playoffs.
The injuries are hurting them right now.
The injuries and I just think in a series they can be figured out.
Okay.
They don't have enough experience.
Okay.
But Jared Allen would change that.
Okay, fair enough. Atlanta Hawks, the red hot Atlanta Hawks.
Yep. Play. Solid.
Play. Okay.
Trey, especially after last season's playoffs, Trey was amazing.
Yeah, it's time for the Trey-offs.
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one coming up with I love it.
Yeah, they're interesting. I would want to say layoffs for them, but they're doing the Hawks thing, right? Where they're like very kind of okay and whatever, and then the season starts to come to a close and they go, all right, jetpacks around, we're going for it now.
It's a good strategy. You know, you kind of like just
sure, except
tread
they're in the
water.
play-in. Like,
yeah, but then you tread water and then they go hard in the playoffs. I like it.
Yeah, they treaded a lot of water this year.
That's true.
Okay, Hornets.
I love them so much, but layoff.
Yeah, I think they're a layoff team.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting thing with the Hornets. They're putting up 114.8 points per game, and they are allowing 114.8 points per game. They are a net zero as a team.
That's probably the most impressive thing I've heard all year. That is an accomplishment.
We're talking about fractions of a point being exactly the same.
Everything has to fall into place for that to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. They should win an award for that.
Yeah. Or your defense just has to fall out of place for that to happen. So, okay, I'm with you. Layoffs.
Yeah.
All right. And then the Brooklyn Nets, who is very interesting.
Look, I want to say Slay.
Okay.
But I'm not going to.
Wow.
Sorry.
What a curveball. What an emotional roller coaster you just set me on.
No, play. Solid play. I mean, they're the 10 seed. They've had a lot of problems even when they have had their players. Yeah, I mean, they have to play to slay because they could.
Okay.
They could slay.
All right. They got to prove that they can slay by playing first. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going west.
Okay.
Phoenix Suns, who have clinched the #1 spot in the league. It means if they get to the finals all the way through everything, they're going to have home court.
Imagine saying anything other than slay. Like, they're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
They're doing it. And I say that as not the biggest Phoenix Suns fan, but you got to give them their credit. Yeah.
So they're slaying.
Slaying.
All right. Memphis Grizzlies.
Slaying.
Yeah.
Even without Ja. Look at them.
The 20-2 without Ja. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, slay.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
I agree with you. My only concern with them is like, yes, regular season slay. And look, they've won titles in Start Today here on the show. Is that their offense is very heavily predicated on transition, getting out and running. And if things slow down in the playoffs, I worry about what they're able to do offensively, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They've been so good. It's hard not to call them.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a similar thing happen to them that happened to Utah last year, where like great regular season, they figured it out. But yeah, it might be easy to figure them out if they're the right coach against them.
And we'll see if they get Ja back, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be reevaluated in like a week.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But okay. I think they've earned that.
Yes, I think so too.
The Warriors.
I feel like I always shit on the Warriors. Solid play. But yeah, they're like at a 0 to me, like a net rating of a 0, because they're kind of boring, and I think they're easy to figure out.
They haven't been like terribly healthy though. So like,
yes,
if Steph comes back, does that change it for you? Do they become slayers with Steph?
Well, I think you mentioned this to me earlier, but Draymond is the big X factor.
He is the X factor for me. Yeah.
Steph, but we've also seen him not get out of the play-in.
Totally fair, but he did it without, that was no Clay, right? Like Jordan Poole hadn't become what he is right now.
100%. Yeah. But they still didn't do it. So.
Okay.
I want to see. I'm curious.
Okay. All right. Play-in, got it. Or playoff.
And Clay has been so-so.
He's getting better.
You
can see him conditioning.
Yeah, but not enough to move the needle.
He just erased a 20-point deficit against the Utah Jazz.
Who else did that? The Clippers.
This happened 2 nights ago.
This happened 4 nights ago.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, there it is, folks. There's your Utah Jazz moment of the episode.
We had to.
Dallas Mavs.
Play. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised with a slay, but they're not. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. That's fair. Totally fair.
But Luka is going. God, he is.
Yeah, he's unreal.
Luka Magic is here to stay.
Okay. Nuggets.
Play.
Play?
Yeah, because we've seen Jokic do it. He's incredible, but Jamal's not coming back, huh?
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, I just think they'll hit a wall.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Your Utah Jazz.
Your Utah Jazz. Our Utah Jazz.
The communal Utah Jazz.
They kind of are. Lay.
Really?
Yeah, look what we just said. The last games, they've had their huge leads erased.
Fair enough.
They can't hold on to it. And they're pretty much showing teams how to beat them in the playoff series at this point.
Yeah. I wish I could give this person credit. I don't remember who it was. I saw it on Twitter. It was a stat that said Donovan Mitchell is averaging this season 2 passes a game to Rudy Gobert. Not assists, passes. Like, he has been iced out by his entire team. Nobody is giving him the ball.
They don't like
And he's
him.
got mismatches in the post left and right, and he's just being completely ignored by his team.
I feel like I like Rudy Gobert, but everyone hates him, so I'm like weary to like really like him because I feel like there's maybe something I'm missing.
This is the alternates.
You're right.
This is the place to go against the grain.
I think Rudy could be a championship player. I don't think he's utilized correctly, and I think he's just asked to do too much, and also they hate him.
Well, he's also asked to do more. He wants to be more of an offensive player, which I think
then
is,
maybe he needs to not do that. Maybe you need to just,
that, but not that.
Yeah, that, but not that. Keep doing what you're doing, but don't ask to do more because, he can't.
Okay.
But if he's used correctly, he's an amazing talent.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best defensive bigs in the NBA.
And I don't think he's the only reason that Utah is having issues.
Totally fair. Okay, so they're slayoffs.
No, they're layoffs.
Oh, they're layoffs. Sorry.
They aren't even touching the sleigh.
There's no S in there.
They're not hitting a sleigh at all.
Okay. The Wolves.
Solid play.
Solid play.
Yeah.
All right.
Great energy. They've been playing great. Pat Bev has completely changed the whole vibe there.
The culture king,
for the better. And I love that their fans love him. But I mean, they're not on the same tier as the Suns.
Okay.
Or the Grizzlies.
Totally fair. The Clippers. Think about this logically. Take your heart out of it.
I can do that.
And tell me where you've got them.
Play.
Is that with the return of Paul George?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think Paul is going to go playoff P mode again. And honestly, I mean, I wouldn't
You're sending a mixed message with that. I don't know if everybody knows that you believe in playoff P.
Oh, playoff P is now a good thing.
Okay. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
I just want to make that clear.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the haters don't know. Yeah, so they called him he called himself playoff P, and then it was a nickname. But after last season's playoffs, playoff P is a good thing.
For sure.
And he's going to do it again this season. But I can't put them in Slay because we don't know about Kawhi. Maybe Norm? Maybe? He might come back?
Does Norm coming back...
It moves the needle, I think, a little.
Does it move them out of the playoffs?
Into Slayoffs?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Just because we haven't seen Paul and Norm together.
Sure.
They're both amazing players, but, we've seen this season that doesn't always mean that it works out.
Totally.
Solid play. I don't think they're close to getting in the layoffs because I think that they can do it.
Okay.
I don't think Ty Lue would let them be a layoffs.
Okay, fair enough. New Orleans Pelicans.
Lay.
Yeah,
I mean, what do they got?
Jonas Valanciunas.
He is a scary, scary man. Jonas Valanciunas is so underrated. I don't
He looks
know
like a hitman.
Yes, and he moves like a hitman, and then he hits you.
Yeah, and the slick hair is not helping that image.
And then he'll just hit a three.
Yeah.
And then, he's incredible and way underrated. But he can't do it alone. And Brandon Ingram is great. They have some good guys, but look at the
Jose Alvarado's been great. I love watching him play.
I love him.
Yeah.
He is sneaky.
What a fun story.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are not gonna do anything.
Okay. All right. And then the last team here, the San Antonio Spurs. Lay.
Yeah.
I'm with you, but the Spurs for me, and maybe it's just 20 years of conditioning of watching them for so long be so good.
Yeah.
For me, it's kind of like with a LeBron team where if your team has LeBron, I can never fully count you out just because LeBron is that good. LeBron is we've seen LeBron do crazy things.
Yes,
right?
but I don't really subscribe to that idea.
I mean, that's fine. But for me, it's Popovich in terms of coaching. I will never count Pop out. Pop is a genius. And, Jamal Murray's we've love him here on the show. He's been fantastic. I just said Jamal Murray. DeJounte Murray.
I was like,
has been, they got him. You didn't know about that?
Jamal?
DeJounte Murray's been great, but I'm with you. With the season they've had, they are oddly competitive for a 10 seed, but I think it's...
I don't think they even want to be there. I think they were not trying to make the play-in. They just...
So let's recap real quick where we've got everybody. So in the playoffs, we've got the Heat, Celtics, Bucks, Suns, Grizzlies. In the playoffs, we've got the 76ers, Bulls, Raptors, Hawks, Nets, Warriors, Mavs, Nuggets, Wolves, and Clippers.
Yeah, that's right. There's like 5 slays, that's the above.
Totally.
And then they're averaging play.
And then the layoffs, you've got the Cavs, Hornets, Jazz, Pels, and Spurs. Okay.
Sounds right, doesn't it?
Hit us up in the comment section. Let us know.
Jazz is going to be
where you're putting them. I want to know who your slay-off teams are, who your playoff teams are, who your layoff teams are. That was fun. Thank you for doing that.
But you didn't do the snap. I was hoping.
I didn't. No, that's your thing, not mine. So let's get to our final segment.
Let's go. I'm
excited. Which is Duo Jam. Now, I got to recap the last time we played, which was 2 weeks ago because I just took the last week off. And it was Pacers versus Jazz. I picked the Pacers. I picked Tyrese Halliburton, who has been fantastic, and Jalen Smith, a sneaky pick, who I love Jalen Smith. They combined for 139.3 points. Jalen Smith got hurt after the first game and didn't play, and that is basically what my entire season in Duo Jam has been. Clayton took the Jazz. He picked Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Pretty easy picks there. They combined for 179.8. Who else would you pick over those two?
Yeah, they're great picks.
Yeah.
I'm complimenting Clayton.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying it was a no-brainer. Okay, that's who you go with. So he beat me.
By a lot.
Like 40 points. That's not a lot.
Kind of.
Look, Jalen Smith put up 30 points in his one game.
Okay.
Fantasy points.
Yes. A round of applause for Jalen.
So what I'm saying is I would have gotten the win if Jalen Smith didn't get hurt.
Okay, yes.
Anyway, so that brings me to 3-8 on the season. Clayton's at 8-3. Now, Clayton is not with us today. So you are going to be picking the Duo Jam this week.
I'm going to win. You're welcome, Clayton.
And much like our last segment, I'm doing it a little bit differently this week. It's the end of the season. I didn't want to just pick teams, pick from a specific team. I think the big conversations now are awards, so I wanted to lean into that. With most of the teams having the same amount of games left, we are picking our Duo Jams off of MVP candidates and Defensive Player of the Year candidates. So you got to pick one MVP, one defensive player.
And then you add up the fantasy points?
Fantasy points. Okay. So we're going to go head-to-head on this one. Okay. So the MVP leaders right now in odds are Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, and Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Defensive player odds leaders are Marcus Smart, Bam Adebayo, Mikal Bridges, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Giannis. I'll let you go first. Who is your MVP Defensive Player of the Year Duo Jam this week?
Okay. Jokic.
That's your MVP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Going for those triple doubles.
He's a monster, and the Nuggets are still not completely solidified in their seeding, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going Jokic.
Okay. And then who are you picking as your defensive player to pair with him?
Okay. Clayton, we're going to win. Giannis.
You're giving me 2 MVPs, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be tough. So you've got to combine 7 games this week between those two players.
You know what's funny is I was going to pick Giannis for both of them at first. And then I was like, that's the worst strategy you could think of.
I would not double your points.
No, it would be terrible. It would cut them in half. So,
okay. Wow. So you're going Jokic and Giannis.
Yep.
The soft J and the soft G.
Big brain.
This one is going to be tough. Okay. My MVP. I'm trying to think. There's some teams that are still jockeying for position because this time of year gets dangerous,
Suns
right?
Suns is not. So Booker is not.
Suns are clinched in their spot. So they'll be resting guys. I think I'm going Embiid.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put 2 bigs at me.
Yeah. He's gonna play too because he and Harden want to get some time together.
They need to build a little more chemistry going in. They are not, like I said, they're tied with the Bucks right now, so they're not solid with where they are. So I'm gonna take Embiid.
He's a fantasy monster.
Yes. And then my defensive player. This one's tough.
It is tough.
This could backfire on me, which given my record probably will. I'm going to take Bam Adebayo. Now,
I don't think that'll backfire.
They are the 1 seed, but the Celtics are just 2 games behind them. And I think they want to hold on to that 1 seed.
Yeah. And they have a lot of guys that are kind of in and out of the rotation right now.
They're starting to rest guys.
Yeah.
And like, look, Bam was one of those guys this last weekend, but I think that they are going to play him this week. So I'm going with Embiid and Adebayo. This is just, there's 4 bigs.
Yeah.
There's 4 bigs in Duo Jam this week.
I love that because those are big number guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we will check back next week to see how this goes. If I win, it does count for 6 wins, which will give me a winning record on the season.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, fine. I tried.
What do I win?
You'll get to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So if you win, you get to come back.
And if
not,
I don't,
delete my number.
goodbye forever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to be today's show.
Okay.
Natasha, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I can't wait to find out the results now.
I know. It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
It's a great show. We will see you again soon. I'm not going to say when, but I know that we are going to see you again soon.
Win?
I mean, look, 3-8. You're
Come on,
probably
Giannis.
coming back.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You have a terrible record. You're not even making the play-in.
Where can everybody watching and listening follow your work?
My work. Twitter. Natasha Dye.
Okay. At Natasha Dye on Twitter.
Yeah. And then I have some other stuff later, but I can't talk about it now.
Leaving a teaser. I love it. All right. Well, I will be back on Friday with an all new episode and a very special guest, someone whose music has been played on this show before. Very excited to get this person in here.
My music's never been played on the show before.
Well, submit it and, we'll see if it passes. We will be visiting the altar of the basketball gods. We're going to be playing 3-pack. And of course, we will be visiting the Casino of Clayton and Bet Brains. So excited to get into that. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to leave you with this song. Got a little kind of emo here to end the show. I got to balance out that very heavy song that I opened the show with. And this is a Declaration of Sorts by Small Brown Bike off the 2003 The Riverbed LP on Lookout Records. Thank you all so much. We'll see you soon.